There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way
Here
back.
comes pressure. Bortles sees it coming. Looking for Wharton in the end zone. Wharton behind the defense. Oh! Are you kidding?
Welcome to the desert and the campus of the University of Arizona for the Arizona Spring Football Game. The Wildcats, a lot of excitement coming into 2014, really pumped, and we get our first look at Arizona football for 2014 here today. Along with Yogi Roth, I'm Roxy Bernstein, and Yogi, this is an Arizona program. The momentum, a late season win against Oregon, a big bowl win against Boston College, a lot of excitement for Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think when you look at the spring storylines and really what this team needs to do, overarching, they got to recapture their competitive edge. This is a team that finished really well. Clearly a lot of answers they need to fill, but right now, this is a team that might be turning the corner, so it's going to be interesting to see how they compete today and carry on through the rest of the offseason.
Well, the big questions for Arizona are, how do you replace Kadeem Carey and B.J. Danker?
Well, definitely not very easy to replace either one of them. Kadeem Carey, one of the best backs in the history of this program. I believe it'll be by committee, especially when we get to the fall with a few incoming players. At quarterback, I mean, it's a laundry list of who's who when you look who's going to be playing today. Jesse Scroggins, the transfer from USC. You got Gerard Randall, transfer from LSU. Connor Brewer, the transfer from Texas. Anu Solomon won 4 state titles in high school. You got Nick Isham, transfer from La Tech. So a lot of talented players. The competition is going to be intense. And all these quarterbacks, they're capable, and they all want it. So it's going to be fun to watch.
We hope to answer some questions for you about the Wildcats and somebody who has a lot of answers about Arizona football. Standing by with our Jill Savage, here's the Wildcats head coach, Rich Rodriguez.
Coach Rodriguez, it's the final spring practice. What do you want to see out of your guys?
Well, we want to see them compete, which they've done a pretty good job of all spring. Obviously, as a head coach, we hope we get out of it with nobody getting injured and all that. But I want to have some fun. It's an opportunity for them to practice in front of a few fans and show a few new guys that we have in the program. But more than anything else, it's another teaching moment for us.
2 big holes to fill at the quarterback spot and the running back spot. How do you not only replace the production, but the leadership qualities as well?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, those guys are not just good players, but great leaders for us, and 2 of the best leaders we had. But, you know, how you replace a Kadeem Carey, I don't think you do it with one guy. You know, there's a multiple number of guys we'll have that compete for that spot. And at quarterback, we got a whole slew of them out there that all get reps today, and it's going to be fun to see it. I think they've gotten better at both positions. Now, we'll be as good as we were last year at that, I don't know. But nonetheless, our expectations are high for the guys that are competing for it.
And defensively, you have more guys than ever. Still a really relatively young group, but how is the competition this spring really going to come out and help you in the fall?
The competition's been better this spring than the last 2 springs for us. This is because we've got more bodies, and we got a few more coming in the fall, and we've got to get more guys ready to play defensively. We've only been playing probably 13 or 14 guys on defense, and we want to double that. So it's going to be some young guys in the fall, some new guys that are practicing this spring to get a great opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill.
Roxy?
All right, Jill, so Rich Rod talking some defense, Yogi. What are you looking for from the Arizona defense?
Well, 3 years ago, they had 21 scholarship defensive players in spring practice. This year, they have 47. So clearly, the numbers are much improved, and the competition is much improved. So a much deeper team, and I think a more athletic defense.
So we'll get started next from Tucson, Arizona, the Arizona Spring Football Game, the first look at the Wildcats for 2014, coming up next on Pac-12 Networks. Tucson, Arizona. Arizona Stadium on the campus of the University of Arizona for the Wildcats Spring Football Game. Here are the rules, Yogi. This is how we're playing this afternoon.
Well, springs are always a little interesting with how they handle all the scoring. And the system you see in front of you, offensive, they get a first down, it's a point. Touchdown, it's 3. Field goal's only 2. Defensively, this is really where you can gain some points, and defenses have a little bit of an advantage. They get a TFL for 1. A sack is 2. They're really making an emphasis on that. Quarterbacks are actually live the majority of spring practice. So it's going to be fun as this goes on back and forth. And while it's not a game, Roxy, it is still a competitive environment, and these guys have a lot to prove. They want to make sure the last taste they leave in these coaches' mouth is something positive.
It's a competition, is what it is, between the offense and the defense. The offense in the white, the defense is in the blue, and Jesse Scroggins will take the first snap at quarterback for Arizona, the senior from Lakewood, California.
Yeah, you really got to like Jesse Scroggins simply for his resiliency. I mean, I remember Jesse at the Elite 11, the quarterback competition that I'm a part of. This was 5-6 years ago. He was the dude coming out of high school. He was Mr. Everything, committed to USC, a huge live arm coming out of Lakewood in Southern California, and really just floundered a little bit when you look at his career at USC. Struggled with the academic element, struggled with the social side of things, given a second chance here at Arizona. Last year, thought to be the guy, didn't understand the offense as well as Rich Rod would have hoped, would have liked. But here's a young man where if you said a month ago, would he be the starter? I think everyone around the country in the Pac-12 would say probably not. And here he is taking the first snap in the spring game.
There's a pass incomplete intended for Samaji Grant, the sophomore from Compton, California. So the first snap's taken a quarterback by Jesse Scroggins. This is going to be an ongoing competition to quarterback. We're not going to see anything decided today. This is going to go deep into fall camp before Rich Rodriguez goes with a quarterback.
Yeah, and it's really fun. Yesterday I had a chance to watch film on all the quarterbacks. I went in probably about 3 or 4 hours, watched the majority of spring practice, and Jesse stood out. You know, he really did. I think the competitive elements of all the quarterbacks, they all can operate this offense, but Jesse, I think, was just a nudge above the rest of the guys just from watching him on film.
Terrace Jones-Grigsby is the depth chart at quarterback, what Arizona's looking at with their competition.
Yeah, and this is just kind of, I think, how we see it to a certain degree, and you can move guys up and down dependent upon the situation, but Scroggins, I think, is the leader in the clubhouse right now. Gerard Randall, when we see him later today, he's got such special ability with his legs. He's such a unique athlete. And Connor Brewer, Anu Solomon, these are two guys that are winners. You know, Connor, right down the road, you know, from Arizona, from the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, won 3 straight state titles in high school, went to Texas, a heralded recruit. Anu Solomon won 4 out of Bishop Gorman in Vegas. And then Nick Isham, here's a young man who won games at La Tech under Sonny Dykes.
So second down for this first offensive series for Jesse Scroggins. There's mobility for Scroggins on the move. And the keeper there by Scroggins. There is Gerard Randall, who began his college career at LSU, initially committed to go to Oregon.
In the same class of Marcus Mariota and Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. And he was ranked higher than both of those quarterbacks. And number one, that says something about the rating system. It doesn't always equate to victories or starts and wins, but it does talk about his potential. And coming out of high school, he was a 4.4 guy. Everybody loved him, got in a little trouble at LSU, found his way, went down to Northwest Mississippi Community College. And thankfully, I don't think either one of us have ever been there, because it's probably not the most exciting place, but you get a chance to focus on school and football, and that's what he did. Now he's got another opportunity.
Scroggins will take off here. And Scroggins picks up a first down and more as he's wrapped up inside the 25-yard line as this offense seems to be clicking a bit, and there's the mobility you're talking about with Scroggins.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Jesse Scroggins, and number one, he passes the eye test. I mean, I talked to him in pregame, and gosh, he looks like a Pac-12 quarterback. And you don't really talk about mobility with him, but he's surprisingly mobile.
There's a handoff up the middle and a touchdown for the Arizona offense. Terrace Jones-Grigsby goes into the end zone, the senior from Long Beach, the former walk-on, with a couple of carries on this initial drive and a touchdown for Jones-Grigsby.
And we talk a lot about the quarterbacks at the top of this, but running back is also a spot where these guys want to prove they can be the guy, and that opened up extremely well. This offensive line returning really 4 starters, and they love the competition they have at the left guard spot. So here's Jones-Grigsby. Not a lot of love, not a ton of hype, but he's really taken over in spring and kind of been the first guy out, been the leader in this group, and it's going to be fun to see how this group continues to evolve come the fall.
Jared Baker, who got a lot of time as the understudy to Kadeem Carey last year, out for the spring with a knee injury, still rehabbing that. He'll be in the mix hopefully in the fall once they get to camp, but it's a long list, like quarterback, of running backs who are competing.
Yeah, and Jones-Grigsby, I mean, he's the 5th-year senior. He's played a ton on special teams. They want him to be more aggressive. He catches the ball well out of the backfield. I mean, I really think about it. We talked about it in the open. I think running back for Arizona is going to be by committee this fall.
The redshirt freshman, Anu Solomon, will get the second crack at quarterback for Rich Rodriguez. And Solomon from Las Vegas, an impressive high school record of 57-3 for Solomon in his 4 years there in Vegas.
Yeah, we had a pretty good high school, Bishop Gorman. They just keep cranking out talented players. Remember DeMarco Murray, who was ended up with the Dallas Cowboys. He was a running back out of there a couple years ago. Shabazz Muhammad went to UCLA in basketball out of there. So a really good environment there.
Wide open down the sideline, but unable to make the catch. Incomplete. That pass intended for David Richards, as Solomon tried to lead him, and Richards would have been home free for a score.
Yeah, and if I'm Richards, you're going with two hands on that. He kind of just gave it the old one-arm stab. But Anu Solomon, his nickname is Chill. I mean, he's a chill kid. He really is. And I think in this offense, around this coaching staff, you've got to make sure that you can have your presence be felt. And at the quarterback position, I believe that's the number one quality you got to have if you want dude qualities, to be that guy in the huddle. And then I talk to coaches around the country. I say, what do you want a quarterback? They say, I want a dude. I want a guy whose presence is felt every time he steps in that huddle or steps onto the field in this case.
So here's Solomon on third down. On the move toward the sideline, it's caught. Caleb Jones, the transfer from Texas, with the grab, and he moves the chains for Anu Solomon and the Arizona offense.
That's called improvisation right there from Anu Solomon. I mean, he's a young man. He's done it on film. Some guys really can flip that switch in the game, and here is that game, that competitive cauldron environment. That's a big-time play.
Having trouble with the snap. Solomon jumps on top of it there. Bring up second down, but you're talking about having a dude. Well, B.J. Danker was that dude,
right.
And he was the guy that everybody rallied around, even though Kadeem Carey was the focus of the offense.
Right.
Danker was really the catalyst, though.
Yeah, especially late in the season when he finally gained mastery around this system, and it takes a little while, you know, and I think that's what's going to be interesting about this competition right here. If Jesse Scroggins wins the job, it's going to be because he really was that much better than some of the players that have 1, 2, 3, 4 years of eligibility remaining. Because when Rich Rod, you look at his history, I mean, when we're going to show it all afternoon long, his history is impressive at the quarterback position when he gets more than one season to work with a guy.
Pierre Cormier, redshirt freshman, with the last carry from San Diego. Here is Solomon on third down. Pass intended for Garrick Wharton, incomplete. Now here is the production that Arizona got last year, and this is what they're missing for 2014.
Well, 32 touchdowns combined by these two. They had 36 on the team. You know, they only have one rushing touchdown returning from last year, so these were clearly big-time components to this offense. They made it click. You look at the last 4 games of their season, they really were on the same page in terms of that zone read, understanding how to read it, when to give it, when to take it, and putting a lot of pressure on outside linebackers in these Pac-12 defenses. Because remember, now the majority of these defenses are playing 3-man fronts, putting a lot of pressure in space for the outside linebackers to make plays.
On fourth down, Solomon on the run, brought down by Keone Bushlew, a junior from Hawaii, for this Arizona defense. Is the white the offense leading the blue here 10-2. And that duo of Carey and Danker combined for over 230 yards per game on the ground last year.
It's unbelievable. Check out the zone read from B.J. Danker. You want to talk about mastery of a system. This is what this young man could do last year. By the end of the season, he really understood the nuances of this offense. He's going to read the end man line of scrimmage. If he goes up the field, he's going to give it. If he goes down the field, he's going to give it to the back. If he goes up the field, he's going to take it. So you look at him right now. The defensive end, he crashes. He doesn't give it to Carey. Away he goes. One-on-one tackling, like we talked about, whether it's outside backers or safety. That's poor Parker Orms down there. Misses the tackle from Colorado. And this is what he did all season long, especially late when he got comfortable.
So the defense gets the stop. The white leads the blue 10-5. Here, the Arizona Spring Football Game from Tucson on Pac-12 Networks. The Arizona Spring Football Game from Tucson. As the white, the offensive team, leading the blue team, the defense, 10-5. And here is a recap of last year in the Big Bowl win against Boston College. What was the Independence Bowl?
It was an impressive performance by that team.
Let's go down to the sideline. Jill Savage standing by with an anchor of that team, B.J. Danker.
Thank you so much, Roxy. Yeah, B.J. Danker definitely knows what it takes to run this Rich Rodriguez system. What does it take to master it?
I think you need to, it's first of all, it's all about brains. You have to be the smartest guy on the field. You have to understand the offense inside and out. And the quarterbacks know that. And, you know, when they played behind me and they saw how tough it is mentally, and, you know, I think they're focusing on that. The biggest part is make sure you know the X's and O's. And I'm watching them right now, and they look pretty sharp.
There are about 5 guys competing out there. The race is wide open. What's it going to look like next year with the new guy under center?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. That's how it was last year. No one knew who was going to be the starter, but that's good for them because it makes them keep fighting. They're hungry, and competition breeds success. And so it's going to be close. I don't think anyone will know up until game time.
They're saying it's the deepest wide receiver core in the Pac-12. How would you have liked that group of wide receivers, especially now with a healthy Austin Hill?
Yeah, Austin Hill's big. Caleb Jones is going to have a huge year. Trey Griffey being another year mature. They got some studs. I was talking to the coaches, subbing in 4 and 4 in and 4 out. They have 8 guys that can play at any time. That's pretty special.
So what's next for you?
The draft is in April. We'll see what happens with that with free agency and, maybe Canada. We'll see. Who knows? It's just a waiting game right now.
Well, best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Roxy?
All right, Jill, so a big hit just laid on Austin Hill is Connor Brewer at quarterback. Now for this Arizona offense, as B.J. Danker did a great job with his Arizona team, especially late in the year last year, but here's that hit on Austin Hill.
Trying to make sure they come out of this spring without any catastrophic injuries as Austin Hill gets, pretty clean hit from Blake Brady coming from the safety position. And, those are tricky. Sometimes you want to teach a quarterback, take a shot in the hole when you get that opportunity versus too high, but also there's that balance. And right after the play, Rich Rod went right up to Connor Brewer. They had a conversation and moved on to the next snap.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So the transfer from Texas, Connor Brewer, at quarterback for this Arizona offense right now. 6'2", 195-pound sophomore. He's from Scottsdale, so left to go to Texas, then came back to Arizona.
Yeah, and remember, teammate of Devontae Neal, who's a transfer as well from Notre Dame, playing wide receiver today. And I've known Connor Brewer for a long time. Again, he was another one of those quarterbacks with the Elite 11 the year after Jesse Scroggins, and a really talented young man. He can make every throw. Clearly a winner. A ridiculously athletic family. I mean, his brother is here. He's playing for the Diamondbacks AAA team. Another brother playing baseball in college. His sister played at USC. I mean, a lot of athletes, comes from a competitive family, and he really loves the game. And he's one of the more studious quarterbacks I've been around. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because he, like BJ Danker just said, I think he's got the brains to play this position, but there's so many other elements. Combining that with athletic ability, with arm strength, who can make all the throws, it's going to be competitive.
And a strong competition. Again, 5, maybe even 6 deep at the quarterback spot, guys that are competing. Now, Rich Rodriguez, what's the program he'll follow to try to get it down to camp for the competition? Because you can't have 6 guys going at it during fall camp for the starting job at quarterback.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think when you get into camp, when you talk to the coaching staff like we did this week, you really can only play 3 guys, and really 2. That third guy's going to get minimal reps. So they're trying to figure it out today. They'll go back and watch every cut-up of all spring long. They'll make sure they spread the reps equally that first 4, 5, 6 days of fall camp. But after that first scrimmage, it's got to be kind of figured out by then. Now, keep in mind, too, this is the first year where the rules shift in the NCAA. Coaches are allowed now to meet with the players in the offseason after spring football. That was never the case. It was after today, you didn't get to really see them, you didn't get to talk to them, you didn't get to watch film with them until really come fall camp. Now you get 8 hours over 8 weeks each week, so it'll be interesting to see how they divvy that up, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of quarterback meetings.
Gerard Randall now getting his opportunity at quarterback, and Rich Rodriguez has a long history of success with the quarterback position. Randall getting an opportunity to compete for that job, as over the years, you look at all the quarterbacks that Rich Rodriguez has had, and the numbers they have put up have been eye-popping.
Yeah, they're really talented players. He does a nice job managing that position. When you dive back into his history, and I remember him at West Virginia. I was playing at Pitt, and we played against each other. Pat White, a dominant player. Denard Robinson, we all know about Shoelace, right? Matt Scott, senior. B.J. Danker, senior. And when you go back even further, you can go back to Sean King at Tulane. You can go to Woody Dantzler at Clemson. And we talked about it earlier. When he gets a quarterback 2 years in a row, every single time in the second year, they've been the offensive player of the year in that conference. So, again, you've got to be that much better than the other guys, I think, to be the senior and get the nod. And that has happened the last 2 years with Matt Scott and with B.J. Danker.
So we've seen Scroggins a senior at quarterback, Solomon a redshirt freshman, Connor Brewer who's a sophomore, and now Gerard Randall, the junior who began his career at LSU, getting an opportunity at the quarterback spot here in the Arizona spring game.
Yeah, and you know, when you talk to the staff and ask them why the spring game is going to be in the situation it is today, it's not necessarily a game-type environment, but situationally, they want to put quarterbacks in specific situations. So Gerard Randall, it's no mistake that he's starting backed up in his own end zone and having to drive the team the length of the field. They want to make sure they can measure all those intangibles. And this is a young man who I think defines the phrase grit. He has had to fight. He has had to compete throughout at least the last few years after he made his mistakes at LSU, and now he's got another opportunity. And his arm, it is absolutely ridiculous. And look at what he's doing right here. This is the special things that when things break down, all of a sudden he can get you some yards, get you a first down, break away with that speed that he has.
So Jake Matthews on the tackle there for this Arizona defense, and here's what you're talking about, the elusiveness of Randall.
Yeah, went back and watched about 350 of his plays from spring practice yesterday, and he does this time and time and time again. I mean, he's got some of that quick twitch capability at the quarterback position. If he can master the offense, I think he might be the guy.
And there's the inside screen. Getting it into space and a first down for the Arizona offense. And a nice pass right there to Georges with the catch for a first down for this Arizona offense from Randall.
Well, I like how he looks to his left, comes back to his right. In this offense, it's a lot first read, second read, run. He gets to his second read, delivers a strike, and now here we go. We're out of backed up situation. Now we can get into our normal offense.
Redshirt freshman from Miami, Zach Green with a handoff after Clive George is another Florida product for this Arizona team with that first down catch. And you're seeing a broad recruiting base, and Rich Rodriguez tap into his resources all over the country. Infusion from Texas and Florida on this Arizona roster.
Well, it's a fun offense, and I think with the addition of, really the Pac-12 networks and now being able to see this in a variety of different places and understand what this offense can do, I think recruiting-wise, they do as good a job as anybody in the country. Matty Dudek, he's the director of on-campus recruiting, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, they really do a nice job of getting their message out with their players and within this program.
So Gerard Randall here on third down. Good protection. Pass incomplete out in the flat. It was behind the intended target. And trying to get that one to Zach Green out of the backfield. Now it brings up fourth down for Randall in the Arizona offense. So again, the white team is the offense. The blue team is the defense. And now we'll see another offensive sequence as Randall, his opportunity ends with that incompletion on third down.
Yeah, and the challenge with him is he just went against the three defense. Once he goes against the ones, if he can show that athletic ability, he's going to be a special player.
Tight one, Arizona spring game. Fun competition here in Tucson. Defense has gone ahead of the offense now in the Arizona spring football game. Are they cheering for the defense? What do you think?
They just want to get on camera. They're fired up, and Andy's down there taking the shot on the Pac-12 right now.
There's Connor Brewer, transfer from Texas, one of the quarterbacks competing for the job here. And this ongoing competition at quarterback as Jesse Scroggins will now go in with the offense in his second series here of the day.
And here come the ones, the one receivers, the one O-line against the, looks like the two defense right now. So going to find out what Scroggins is doing his second chance out there.
He dumps it off underneath to Samaje Grant. And here's what the Wildcats are looking for as far as the schedule in 2014. It all kicks off with UNLV right here at the end of August.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, circle the Oregon game, because that is going to be awesome. When you look at what happened a year ago, 42-16, absolute beatdown right here. They put on Oregon.
There goes Devontae Neal. And the first time he touches a football here in the spring game, he finds the end zone. Touchdown for the Arizona offense.
Well, we're talking wideouts, we're talking touchdown makers, we're talking recruiting. I think this is a great example. Devontae Neal, remember, he went to Notre Dame out of high school, returned some punts in the national championship game against Alabama. He is a touchdown maker, what I think Arizona lacked really the last few years. Haven't had a guy, they put the ball in his hands, can go the distance. And this wide receiver depth chart, I firmly believe, I think it's the deepest in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 is loaded when you look at this conference. Nate Phillips, not even playing in spring practice, recovering from an injury. Samaje Grant, a freshman, lit it up. Wharton, he played well. Richards, Trey Griffey, 2 touchdowns in the bowl game. We didn't even mention Austin Hill. We didn't mention Devontae Neal. We didn't mention Caleb Jones, who I think will probably be the 3 top receivers on this team come the fall. So they are loaded, and just like B.J. Danker said with Joel Savage in his interview, they can go 4 in, 4 out, and be ridiculously fresh in this up-tempo offense.
So Neal with the touchdown, the 2-time Arizona Player of the Year. Now he's from Akron, Ohio, but he came out west here to the Phoenix area to go to high school, then went back to Notre Dame, but his girlfriend, they had a baby. That's why he came back here to go to the University of Arizona.
And he comes out, remember, went to high school with Connor Brewer at Chaparral, won 3 state titles. He was Mr. Everything. Everyone in the country was coming out to that school to recruit those 2 players. Now they're here, and I think they're going to find creative ways to get him the football all season long, trying to get him the ball 10, 12 times. And I think when we talk offense, you devise your offense to try to get your playmakers the rock. He might be playmaker number 1.
Second series for Anu Solomon at quarterback. After the touchdown pass going to Devontae Neal for the Arizona offense.
I think really excited about the potential of Anu Solomon. I mean, he's a winner. He's got some uncanny ability. I mean, this is not the first time he's spun out of tackles and tried to make some plays. I mean, this is what his high school film was like. This is what we've seen today. Didn't see a ton of that in spring because it's not as competitive as a game per se. The environment, the people aren't there. Remember, his nickname's Chill, and they got to make sure that this young man comes out. And when you get coached by Rich Rod, you've been to a couple practices, you cannot be chill. I mean, you've got to be going the pedal to the metal. He wants that hard edge, and he's going to make sure he has it at the quarterback position.
And for Solomon, you mentioned he's a winner. He won 4 state titles in Nevada playing for Bishop Gorman. And he's trying to carry that success here with him to Tucson. And there was even some talk last year when he came in as a true freshman, he could push B.J. Danker to possibly get in a quarterback battle here last year. That's how much they thought of Solomon coming in.
You're exactly right. I mean, I remember our signing day show. I thought he was one of the most dynamic players coming into the Pac-12. I mean, the Russell Wilson effect. He's about 6'1". He can make a variety of throws. He's really creative. You saw in that last snap, he can check the ball down. He's got that eye discipline. And look at him right there. That is a perfect play. That is this offense. It is absolutely dynamic what he did, faking the give to the running back, faking the bubble screen, and then throwing a touchdown. We've seen that from Matt Scott. We saw that with B.J. Danker, and now we're seeing with Anu Solomon. Just keep an eye on him right now. Look at the eye discipline, just getting the defense to suck in. Simple eye movement to the right to give the bubble screen, and boom, throws a dime for a touchdown.
So the touchdown pass from Solomon, and into the end zone, the redshirt freshman Abraham Mendeville for the score. And back-to-back touchdown passes. We had one from Scroggins. Now Solomon throws a touchdown.
The competition breeds competition. I mean, everything you can do, I can do better, right? Anu Solomon answers the bell. I think he's done a nice job thus far. And really, it's about execution in this offense. That last snap was beautiful execution. It's exactly what you want at that position because they're going to run that play about 7 to 10 times a game.
So another offensive series now for Connor Brewer. And we've talked about this battle for Rich Rodriguez at quarterback, all the bodies we've seen. What's impressed you so far from these quarterbacks?
Well, I think they're all trying to go for it. You know, I don't see any of them really pressing and trying to force too much. And I really think a majority of them, they've been there before. Other than Anu Solomon, remember, they're all transfers that have come in from somewhere else. They've all been the guy. They've all shown up and under big lights, under a lot of expectations. So now I think they come into an environment and they're trying to operate the offense and prove that they can be the guy within this environment. I've been really impressed with the even-keel personality, getting excited but never trying to force anything, and that's what happens sometimes in this type of competitive cauldron.
David Richards with the last catch, the receiver for Arizona, and he's a guy. When we were talking to Rich Rodriguez and the coaches this week, Yogi, they were extremely excited about what they've seen from David Richards this spring, and there he is, another catch. But he has really bounced back into form after an injury-plagued season last year.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped out this spring. You know, started a few games from Palmdale. Really a talented player, and his size is what stands out. I mean, Arizona's receivers coming off the bus, I mean, they look awesome, man. I'm talking 6'4", 215. He is a dynamic player, and the coverages they see because of their offense, a lot of time you're either going to see cloud coverage, which means you're going to find holes in zones, or you're going to see teams trying to bring pressure, stack the box, and play man-to-man. And this young man, you can put him on the outside where he plays, down in the red zone, put the ball up. Him and Caleb Jones on opposite sides, with Devontae Neal inside, with Nate Phillips, Samaje Grant inside. I mean, come on, man. It's a quarterback's dream. I'd be competing for the job, too.
Richards last year, who was hampered by a foot injury. And the coach is just glowing about him and how he's made a huge jump this spring, and there he is, another catch. This is with Connor Brewer at quarterback, the transfer from Texas.
What I love about that play from Connor Brewer is that he just took what the defense gave him. You know, let's keep in mind what's happened in the narrative of this game so far. Jesse Scroggins has started, done pretty well. Anu Solomon came in number 2, has done pretty well. Here comes Connor Brewer. He threw a pass earlier where Austin Hill got lit up. He bounced back, didn't worry about it. Now he's driving the team down the field. This is impressive, this simple drive of just taking what this 3-3-5 defensive scheme gives you.
3rd down and short now for Connor Brewer, 3rd and 2. Moving in at the 27-yard line. The pitch to the right side. Terrace Jones-Grigsby gets to the edge and has the first down inside the 20. And he's already had a touchdown run here today. And again, this is the scoring summary. This is how you pick up points, the scoring system for the Arizona spring game.
Yeah, for a touchdown, you're getting 3 points on offense, which is good for them, but the defense really an advantage. They get a TFL for 1, a sack for 2, 3 and out. They had one earlier for 3, a 4th down stop or a turnover. It's 3, and that's why I think you have the score that we have right now. But it's always fun in these situations from a coaching staff of creating these scoring systems. You're seeing a variety of them around the country and around the Pac-12.
The interesting part of the scoring system, to keep an eye on the discipline, is there's another touchdown for the offense. Caleb Jones the catch from Brewer, and the former teammates at Texas hook up for a score right there.
These two young men are connected at the hip. I mean, they've known each other for a long time. High school football now and recruiting, everybody gets to know one another. Remember, when you go to a big school, the quarterback is the linchpin in recruiting. He helped recruit Caleb Jones to Texas as well. Again, look at the discipline. This play, Anu Solomon ran a form of it earlier, threw a touchdown. Connor Brewer does the same, and he goes to Caleb Jones. And I'll tell you what, get accustomed to watching number 1. To me, he is an NFL player. I love everything about him, his mentality towards the game, his ability with the game, the way that he practices, the way that he's improved. We watched film together yesterday. For the first 2 weeks of spring practice, he was so disappointed in how he played. Then we turned on the last 2 weeks, such a better player. He's always striving to get better. He's learned from his father, who played in the NFL for a while. His uncles, Jeff Blake, played the quarterback in the NFL for a while. He's been around this system. And remember, he's also relatively faltered, right? Didn't live up to the hype at Texas. He's got a lot to prove. I'd take this young man, put it in pencil. I believe he's going to be a first-team Pac-12 receiver next year.
His dad, Robert, 10 years in the NFL, which you alluded to, is Nate Isham, the transfer from Louisiana Tech at quarterback. In his first opportunity, he goes deep, and it's incomplete. Intended for Garrick Wharton, who's probably the fastest receiver on this team, and yet all the competition. Wharton, who had a couple of touchdown grabs last year, is almost, I don't want to say he's the forgotten guy, but it's going to be a healthy competition. Everybody's going to have to compete to get playing time. And Wharton, even though he's the fastest guy, still has a lot of competition on his hands.
Yeah, you know, I asked offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinator Rod Smith, we asked him that question earlier this week about the receiver room. You know, I played receiver. You talk to receivers around the country, it's a little different personality, man. You know, they all want the rock. Everybody feels like they're the guy. And here's a room with 8 players that can play, at least, and a couple that are going to be coming in the fall. And he said, actually, the environment is not what normally is because of our offense, because of our system. We know we can rotate so many guys and get guys different touches, and he really believes the ethos of that room is going to carry this team because I believe in the spring, it's been the only real consistent group in the skill positions. Offensive line, we're going to get to there. They're returning 4 starters. But at the skill position, these receivers are the leaders.
Yeah, we've made it this long and haven't talked about the offensive line. Is Trey Griffey a brilliant catch? The son of the Baseball Hall of Famer, Ken Griffey Jr., but Trey Griffey, sophomore, who had 2 touchdowns in the bowl game against Boston College with a nice grab.
And they just keep finding guys to get the rock to. I mean, this is the beauty of the offense. I mean, remember the great video from Rich Rodriguez about the speed and the tempo? Well, we're seeing it right now. I mean, they just keep going and going and rotating healthy bodies. And Trey Griffey's really one of the most detailed receivers they have. They said he's in the film room constantly. It was a simple slant and go. To go up and grab it with one hand over a DB, pretty impressive play when you look at what he did right there going up against Derek Babbage.
So the offense has come alive here for Rich Rodriguez. There's a lot of room for Nate Isham to take off and run. He gets close to a first down. Nick Isham with a gain of 9 right there. But all these receivers, we're seeing a ton of guys get into the action here, and all of them are putting a little show on when you look at what Devontae Neal has done, David Richards, Caleb Jones, Trey Griffey. You go on and on. There are so many weapons.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent, and I think the reason offensively they have a chance to put it together is because of what they have up front. I mean, they're returning some guys up front. I mean, really returning 4 starters up front. 3 guys have started for 3 years or more. When you look at the one position they're battling, it's that right guard spot, and they really like this young man out of Torrey Pines in San Diego High School, Jacob Alsadek. So I really like this team if they can find a QB. And what we've seen so far, these guys are playing well.
That pass is dropped as Isham tries to get it out there into the flat to Hunter Layton, a tight end. And there's the ranks where the Arizona offense in the Pac-12 last year, and I know they were last in passing, but putting up 33.5 points a game, nearly 460 yards a contest.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think, and no one would disagree with us, B.J. Dinker didn't really hit his stride till at least mid-season. You know, this passing game struggled. I mean, you go back to the first game last year, nobody, including B.J. Dinker, knew who the starting quarterback was going to be until Rich Rod said, hey, you're the guy. Go out and take the first snap of the season. So the pass game was always relatively in question. They were going to ride B.J. Dinker. And really, when you look at the history of Rich Rodriguez in the spread offense, because he's really the guy who originated this, you know, years and years ago, really when he was at Clemson, at Tulane, a variety of different places, even some of the smaller schools. He always wanted to run the football, and there's so many variations of the spread. This is more Oregon-esque. You know, they want to pound the rock, throw it when they can, but it all starts on the ground.
Isham out to the sideline. Another completion for the transfer from Louisiana Tech. Clive Georges with his second catch of the spring game.
Yeah, Nick Isham's an interesting guy, too. I mean, he might be one of the sharpest guys in that room. I mean, he understands everything they're trying to get done. Last year, he was in the mix as well. You talk to some people around the program, they wouldn't have been surprised if he tried it out for that first snap a year ago. So he's still in the mix. I think they definitely feel safe with him at the quarterback position. He can make a lot of things. Not sure if he has some of the intangibles of the other guys, but he's making a case for himself.
Redshirt freshman from Oceanside, Jack Flato, makes the field goal. Arizona offense hitting their stride here in the spring game. Arizona spring football game in Tucson, where the offense, the white team, has doubled up the blue 32-16. And speaking of the defense, and we've talked a ton of offense so far, Yogi, here in this Arizona spring football game, but the defense for Jeff Castile and group, they made a big jump in improving last year.
Yeah, the third most improved defense last year in all of college football. I mean, really impressive. And, you know, we talked a little bit about it in the open. When they showed up, their first spring, they had 21 scholarship players. The end of that last season, they were starting 3 true freshmen and 4 walk-ons in a bowl victory over Nevada in that epic game that we all watched. Now, they have 47 scholarship players on defense. Now, granted, 37 of them are 4 semesters or less in college, so they're really young. But they've got the bodies finally. They're recruiting to this scheme. And this is a different scheme than we've seen around the country. This is a 3-3-5 defensive scheme. Now, that means you're basically playing nickel defense. That means it puts a lot on Reggie Gilbert. And they love this young man, that defensive lineman. They love what he can do. The redshirt junior, he improved all last season as the year went on. Was a little banged up, but right now he defines that hard edge for their defensive front.
He was second on this Arizona defense with 4 sacks last season. And certainly Reggie Gilbert up front. You look at what Scooby Wright, Tremaine Bondurant, those are the playmakers for this Arizona defense.
Well, Tremaine Bondurant, he tested out the waters in the National Football League. It was an incredible touchdown or throw and catch. They said he was out of bounds. But Tremaine Bondurant, to me, is one of the more athletic players in the Pac-12 Conference. I mean, he really can do a lot. He plays the safety position, but in their defense, he's the spur. That means he can get down on the line of scrimmage. He can blitz. He can come off the edge. He can drop into coverage. Really causes a lot of havoc at the defensive spot at that backer hybrid type position.
Bondurant, who is a 3-year starter for now for this Arizona defense, and last year picked up Pac-12 Player of the Week honors when he returned a touchdown for a score in a game at UNLV. In fact, he had 2 touchdowns returned last season, 7 career interceptions, and he's just a playmaker. Bondurant always seems to find himself around the football.
Well, I'll tell you, he was offered as a quarterback in high school. Nevada and Fresno State said, come play quarterback for us. So, I mean, he's a really talented athlete. To me, again, he really defines grit, comes from a difficult background. I mean, he's a young man who's fought and clawed his way to play here, to really understand this system. On the field, off the field, they speak so highly of him now around the program. It's great to see and highlight guys like that in the Pac-12 conference, in particular this young man, number 21, Tremaine Bondurant.
Jesse Scroggins at quarterback, his 3rd series, tries for the back corner of the end zone, and David Richards incomplete. But here are your defensive playmakers, and Bondurant, of course, with the scores, the returns for touchdowns last year. Scooby Wright, who is the leading returning tackler along with Jared Tevis, and those are the guys that Jeff Castile is going to really lean on. And actually, they're trying to figure out exactly how they want to use Scooby Wright for 2014.
Yeah, Scooby Wright played the Sam linebacker position for them. And remember, in this 3-3-5 scheme, it's basically an inside backer position. There's 2 guys that play inside that take on those blocks from those offensive linemen in the interior. He may move to the middle linebacker position, and that's the guy that really has to call out all the traffic. Jake Fisher, a captain, was that guy for the last few seasons. I wouldn't be surprised if he did not go and play that Mike spot because of the competition at the other positions. You know, Keone Bushlew, Derek Turi, also the transfer Antonio Smothers from Scottsdale Community College. He's a really dynamic athlete. So defensively, they've got some depth. I think they're going to be impressive, and I think they're going to be faster, and that's what they really need to be, and more consistent going up against so many of these talented offenses that differ week in and week out in the Pac-12.
So the offense gets back onto the board. Casey Scourin knocks a field goal through, and speaking of the offense, Jill Savage standing by with a key returner and happy to be back on the field for the Wildcats.
That's right. Austin Hill here with me. You said you were starving to play some football. How does it feel to be back out there in uniform?
It feels great just to be out here with my teammates and the coaches, just back on the field, playing the game I love. So it's pretty amazing.
How difficult was it last season, and what did you learn standing on the sidelines watching it all?
It was probably one of the most difficult things I ever had to do in my life, at least in my football career. Just not being able to help the team out, on the field. I was only able to really help out off the field. So I became kind of a coach. I learned a lot, though. I learned how to, see things that I was doing wrong in my own teammates. So it was it was a learning experience.
And a fellow Pac-12 wide receiver in Braylon Addison up at Oregon just tore his ACL. What is he going to have to go through to battle back? You've been there and done it.
It's just going to be a mental battle. He's just going to have to keep his head straight and, think positive instead of negative. I pray for the best for him. I know he's going to come out, a better player. You just got to think of it as coming out, I'm going to be better. I'm going to rehab as hard as I can, because now it's not going out there playing on the field as hard as you can. It's rehabbing as hard as you can.
Back here at Arizona, you're one of the leaders of a very deep group. What's it going to be like with these Arizona wideouts this season?
Oh, it's going to be fun. Just a lot of threats on every side of the ball, on every side of the field. It's going to be awesome. And, whichever lucky quarterback gets to be the one to lead these receivers, to a Pac-12 championship, it's going to be fun for them. So I can't wait to get back out there during camp and, get better.
Is there any leader in the clubhouse with the quarterbacks yet?
I don't know. I haven't really been in there. I'll sit in a meeting and see who's. But for now, Coach Rod has them on a leash, and he's gonna, get them better every single day.
Best of luck. Thank you so much, Austin.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Roxy.
All right, Jill. So if you're going to play poker, Austin Hill's probably pretty good because he wasn't giving any trade secrets away what's going on with that quarterback battle.
No, well, receivers, we can't do that, right? I mean, we got to make sure everybody loves us and get us the rock, whoever's the guy.
You never know.
That's right. But what a cool story about him. There's a great special on pac-12.com about him and his story and how he's come back and competed. Really impressive. And he's right. It's all the mental side. And you see it at every level of sport, coming back from an injury. That's the biggest part. And I'm excited to see him in the fall. And is he going to still have a knee brace on? Does he get rid of that and all of a sudden can really let it rip? Because this is a unique moment for him, and coming back from that hit was impressive.
And there's some of the talents that Gerard Randall brings to the field as he runs for a touchdown. As Gerard Randall, the transfer from Northeast Mississippi Community College and LSU prior to that, in his ability, in the elusiveness, and he finds the end zone.
He's a special athlete. I mean, he really is. Again, we went back and watched a bunch of his plays from this past spring, about 300, 350 snaps, and he's got that special quality that you're looking for in that terms of his elusiveness, his intangibles, what he can do when he gets the ball in his hands, because he just simply can make people miss. And again, you go through the Pac-12 conference, majority of these defenses are 3-4 schemes. And that also means that the linebackers, the outside backers, are going to be displaced. And with the way that Arizona uses every inch of the width of this field, they're spreading people out. That means there's going to be running lanes. So if you can tuck it and run, and all of a sudden turn what is a 4-yard play for some quarterbacks into a 40-yard touchdown for Gerard Randall, these coaches might like it.
Well, Austin Hill, who just joined Jill down on the field, and here's a little synopsis of what he's been through. And the great season he had, he's a second-team All-Pac-12 performer, nearly 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2012, dealing with the knee injury last year, and what's driving him to come back here in 2014.
Yeah, I'm actually starving. I haven't eaten in a year. And he said that the other day. It's been almost a year, a little bit over a year. April 10th last year is when he got hurt, when he tore his ACL, and this young man has a focus about him. Saw him yesterday in the facility with his young daughter walking around, smile on his face. He just shaved that big afro on him. I mean, he's all business. And he could have, if he wanted to, opted out and gone in the NFL. Probably been taken late, maybe a free agent draft pick, but he's got that type of potential, that type of ability, but really wanted to stay focused, really wanted to finish and polish his career off right. And I think this young man's going to do it because he really has some unique, not just ability on the field, but in that meeting room, I think he will be the cornerstone of this offense.
Anu Solomon in at quarterback again. And the redshirt freshman, that pass incomplete over the head of Trey Griffey. And so with Austin Hill, all these receivers, Yogi, how did they make each other better?
Well, I think that you really just got to push one another. You know, at that group, you know, if you become about yourself, I think that's when you become a detriment to the program. And I think this coaching staff, again, with these new rules with the NCAA, you get to meet with your position players, your position groups throughout the offseason. So it's not just the end of spring, and fall camp. They're going to be able to continue to cultivate that and really work on a lot of those little intangibles. And I think this group and this offense, they get what happens when everybody has a lot of success. Because this program, yeah, they are starving as well. They're starving for a Rose Bowl. They've never done it. So I think that is going to be a unique factor for this receiving core that maybe you won't see at other programs.
You look at the strong finish that they had, that huge win here against Oregon. And toward the end of November last year, and they put up 42 points in the bowl against Boston College. And that's what's driving this team. They had a little taste of success, but they want a bigger piece of success here coming up in 2014.
No, you're right. What they can't do is they can't lose to Washington State. You know, they can't lose some of the games that they should win. And that's going to be the determining factor if they can turn the corner.
Johnny Jackson with the touchdown catch from Solomon. So another receiver that we haven't even mentioned. Jackson with a nice touchdown grab.
Yeah, former walk-on, played in the slot a decent amount last year. They want to prove their worth at this position and this offense. I mean, this is exciting. The deepest wide receiving core in the conference, in my opinion. And that's not just an easy catch, man. I mean, you got to go up and want that. You got to showcase your passion, your ability, your love for the greatest game in the entire planet. And I saw that right there on that snap. And that's a play you take, put on the big screen for the fellas when you have a team meeting on Monday, and say this is called wanting the football at the receiver position.
So another touchdown pass for Solomon, and a tremendous catch by Johnny Jackson right over the defender there, Kimmerly. But Arizona got off to the great start last year that we saw. They jumped out to a 3-0 record, including a huge win. They blew out UNLV. It turned out to be a pretty good team by the end of the year. Then they stumbled a little bit, lost a tight one at the Coliseum, got back. They won 3 straight when they knocked off Utah, Colorado, and Cal. Both the Colorado and Cal games were on the road. They came home, and 2 tough losses. They were right in there with both UCLA and Washington State before that big win against Oregon.
Yeah, and the UCLA one, that was the Miles Jack show. You know, that's when he had his coming out party, and I don't think any scouting report would have said he would have done what he did that night here in this stadium. But I think the biggest thing for this program, you know, we talked about it in the open. They right now have a lot of hype, and you're either going to believe it or you're going to remember what got you there. And that's the difference between these teams. Every year we talk about maybe turning the corner, the ones that do and the ones that don't. And when you go to a practice here, the pedal is to the metal, man. I mean, they don't stop. They really are trying to create and cultivate a hard edge about this team. It doesn't matter the situation, the time, the day, the game. We are coming to play.
The new quarterback checks in for this Arizona offense. Our first look at Kari McGee. As McGee, a redshirt freshman from Fresno, gets an opportunity now. And he wasn't even one of the 6 quarterbacks, oddly enough, that we thought might see some action. This is a 7th guy that's competing at quarterback for Arizona.
Well, he's an impressive young man. I remember him again in high school coming out and working him out in Southern California, worked him out in Northern California a couple times. He's a talented athlete out of the Fresno area where a lot of players are coming to this Arizona team in the fall. A really dynamic athlete. He played a little receiver. He's going to be someone they're going to try to find a spot. Now, we've talked about the depth of receiver. He may add to that. I think he's a guy that, if he wants to get on the field this fall, can slide over and help out a little bit, get 5, 10, maybe 15 snaps a game, can help on special teams, because he's that type of dynamic athlete. But you got to love his competitive resiliency to say, you know what, I want to prove that I can play the quarterback position here.
We were alluding to the South and the competition that Arizona is going to be dealing with. And people saying Arizona could be a dark horse. UCLA, in your estimation, Yogi, are they the favorites? Are they the team that everybody's looking to catch up with?
Yeah, I think so. I've been in a couple practices. I mean, they are impressive. I mean, they have such athleticism. When you walk inside the building, honestly, it feels like what it was when I was at USC under Pete Carroll, that type of mojo, that type of attitude and swagger. I really like what they can do.
Here's McGee with a nice open field move, and he gets near the goal line. So UCLA, Arizona State had a big season last year, and they've made a strong push. How do you see them fitting in USC now with Steve Sarkisian in the South race?
I think UCLA is the front runner. I think SC is the number 2 team right now. Again, I've been in a few of their practices. They're so talented. I mean, across the board, I think if you pulled anonymously majority of the coaches in the Pac-12, they'd take that roster. I think they have a lot of players. They've got some deep players. They got some transfers they're going to play on the defensive line this year. Then I like Arizona State in that next tier. It'll be fun to see what ASU does. I mean, they got to replace a lot of guys on defense in particular. So it's going to be fun as Taylor Kelly, and this maybe shifts a little bit more on his shoulders than it was on the defense a year ago.
And you look at what Utah did last year under Kyle Whittingham. They had the big win against Stanford there in Salt Lake City. They're always a tough team, especially defensively. They're so physical. And then we saw some big strides as the Arizona offense gets into the end zone again for a touchdown on the ground. Zach Green with a rushing touchdown. But Utah and then Colorado, Mike McIntyre, they made a nice push last year also.
There's so many great storylines. When you look at this Utah team, Travis Wilson didn't know if he'd ever play again, threw 5 touchdowns last weekend in their scrimmage. I mean, what an incredible story about this young man. Hopefully he can play this fall. Another offensive coordinator there in Dave Christensen, a different offensive scheme to a certain degree. Do they have enough touchdown makers to make it really happen at Utah? Because we know they have a really good defense. Kalani Sitake, one of the smartest defensive coordinators, I believe, in the country. And then we talk Colorado. You turn on the film. I mean, their spring game was on before us. I love watching them because they're always so well coached. They're always in the right spot. They haven't had the athletes to make the plays, as we saw in a few B.J. Dinker highlight plays earlier, but they're starting to recruit some of those players. Sefo Lufo back for his second year. We broke him down on Football Weekly earlier this week. They've got some tools. I don't think they'll win the South, but I think now it is such a competitive conference top to bottom, and I think you look at our coaches in the entire Pac-12, the NFL, other college teams, they're coming to poach them and take them, and it just speaks volumes of this brand of football. And 10 of the 12 starting quarterbacks are returning, man. I mean, it's heaven, right? It's football heaven right now in college football.
Yeah, all those great quarterbacks that had phenomenal seasons last year, up and down the conference. So you look, Sean Mannion, of course, Marcus Mariota. We can go on and on about the quarterbacks in the Pac-12 from 2013. Jesse Scroggins, another series here at quarterback. And after the pump fake, Scroggins tries to run around the right side. And here's the record-setting seasons that a number of the quarterbacks had in the conference last year.
In the history of the Pac-12. I mean, they just all of a sudden took the record book and said, I'm just going to take it over. Whatever you guys did in the past doesn't matter. Cody Pickett's the only guy hanging around from 2002. It doesn't matter what anybody else did. I mean, this is just silly, the numbers that these quarterbacks are putting out.
And all those guys, by the way, on that graphic are back.
Yeah.
Mannion, Mariota, Halliday, Kelly, Brett Hundley at UCLA. You have Jared Goff at Cal, Kevin Hogan at Stanford. It just goes on
Cody
and on.
Kessler, likely the guy at USC.
Sefo Lufau, who you alluded to, at Colorado.
Yeah.
Wilson at Utah. Pass incomplete there for the end zone.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, the standard has always been set on the West Coast at the quarterback position, but now I think it's so deep at this position. If Arizona, it's the linchpin. I mean, you look at the top 25 from last year. Just go ahead and look at it. You'll know majority of the starting quarterbacks, I think, on 23 of the 25 teams when you look at that list, because they're just household names, because they played so well. They had consistency at that position, and that is the catalyst for success. I mean, you saw it last year with this program late in the season. Why did they get big wins? B.J. Dinker played well.
Fumbling the snap. Here's Scroggins diving on it behind the line. A little bit of difficulties for the offense here since they've gotten into the red zone. Scroggins took a big hit and now has trouble handling the snap.
Yeah, you look at the last two plays from Jesse Scroggins, really hasn't had a lot of success. A poor snap coming from center, doing a nice job just getting on the football. You don't want to make a bad situation worse. Again, something the coaching staff is evaluating.
They blow this play dead. And again, this will be an ongoing competition.
Full start. Number 70 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
Well, sure. They now decide to single out somebody on a penalty. T.D. Gross is going, why me? What did I do?
I think right now, the last 3 plays are exactly what Arizona can't have. The inconsistency is what they've had the last couple years. A poor throw by Scroggins, a poor snap, and now a penalty. Now we're knocking on the end zone. Now we're backed up, potentially in field goal range, depending on a kicker, which we still have to find.
There's a pass intercepted to the back of the end zone as Scroggins throws the first pick by the Arizona offense today. An interception looking for the end zone there, and first giveaway from Scroggins.
Yeah, and this is a simple too-high read for Jesse Scroggins, and he throws it right into the defense. This is a play where he didn't see what the secondary was doing, threw it right into a too-high defense. Safety just sitting there, not even hard for this young man to make the play. So that's the type of play that can happen. You can see the conversation happening right now because they know the potential of Jesse Scroggins. Rod Smith saying we can't kill ourselves like that because that's not just potentially 7 points or potentially 3 points. Now that's giving the defense the ball, giving them the ball in the 20. The dynamics of a game can completely change, and in this quick strike offenses of the Pac-12, that could easily all of a sudden be a 14-point swing.
Zach Struhling with the interception, the sophomore from Austin, Texas, and little mistakes. That's one thing Arizona did a great job of cleaning up last year. They were one of the least penalized teams in the conference at just 36.5 yards per game.
Yeah, they really, I think, have developed a disciplined culture. One that has a ridiculous hard edge, but also one that makes sure they handle some of the little things. And that's why the frustration, you kind of see it on Rich Rod's face right there of, man, we can't make those plays. We want to really get to where we hope, which is a Pac-12 South championship, an opportunity to go play and win the Rose Bowl.
Even with Danker's struggles at quarterback early in the years, Connor Brewer with that pass out to the flat. But he was smart about his decision making. If it wasn't there, he didn't try to force it. I think that's a key for this offense is ball security, interceptions, limiting that, and make the smart play.
You're exactly right. I mean, every Wildcat fan loves hoops, and that's exactly what they want at the quarterback position. They want a point guard.
They want T.J. McConnell.
Well, Coach Rod told us earlier this week, they said, I want a point guard who can shoot the 3. Always making the right decision where to go with the football without a slow learning curve. You've got to learn fast here. Nothing is done slow around this place, especially at that position, and the standards are ridiculously high set by Rich Rodriguez.
So Rich Rod embarking on year 3 with the Arizona Wildcats. Connor Brewer, the transfer from Texas. And the 4th down upcoming here for the Arizona offense.
I think when you look at Connor Brewer, he never does anything wrong. He's always in the right spot, usually making the right read, and really like his ability to operate this offense. And it's going to be fun to see when they make the decision what they make it based upon. Some potential. When you look at Gerard Randall and the athleticism he has, Jesse Scroggins, the upside he has, the consistency of Connor Brewer and Nick Isham, Anu Solomon, who's really shown a little bit of both.
On 4th down, Brewer for the end zone. He's got his man. It's caught. Touchdown. Another Arizona touchdown. In the back of the end zone, the offense strikes again. It's Abraham Mendeville with his 2nd touchdown catch of the day.
That's what I love about spring game. All of a sudden, I was Abraham Mendeville. All of a sudden, you can just get a couple touchdowns. Nobody really talked about you, but you're in the right spot. And again, a great read by Connor Brewer. Here it is again. Watch his eyes. All of a sudden, he flashes his front shoulder just to get the safety, open it up a little bit. The corner hesitates. Touchdown.
And now we're going to see Brewer and the offense go for two. Clive George's pass broken up, incomplete. As Patrick Glover, the junior from New Orleans, defensively there. But the Arizona offense, another touchdown pass. Connor Brewer finds Mendeville for his second touchdown catch of the day. And Rich Rod's offense in gear in the Arizona spring game. Arizona spring football game here in Tucson. They're doing the hashtag Hard Edge Challenge right now on the field here at Arizona Stadium. And we just saw Jesse Scroggins unleash a pass. What, Yogi? It sailed 75 yards through the air?
Yeah. Awesome.
He threw it from the 30-yard line all the way down to the other end zone and landed in the middle of the end zone. But part of the Hard Edge Challenge, now obviously the players can't win this, but this is for the fans. If you kick a 50-yard field goal, you can make $500. But here is that last attempt by Scroggins. Let's head back down to the field. Jill Savage is standing by with the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, Rich
Thanks
Rodriguez.
so much, Coach Rodriguez. What have you seen so far out of your guys?
Well, I've seen some pretty good plays and a little bit of inconsistency. We're not used to practicing this long, so we're dragging it out a little bit. But the truth is, I think they're having a good time. Again, we've got a lot of things to clean up, but I'm not too worried about that. We've got 4.5 months before we play a game.
You've always had a good quarterback in your system. Going through having 5 different guys out there realistically competing for that starting spot, what are you looking for specifically?
Well, in a situation like this, we're looking for it because the coaches aren't telling them what to do on every snap or what to look for. What have they retained from practice, and what can they do under their own kind of guidance when they're out there? And they've done a pretty good job of that. And we've tried to get a lot of guys reps, and it's going to start to clear up a little bit right now. But I think it's really going to probably a competition that goes all the way through August.
I have to ask you, one of the proposed rule changes this summer was that 10-second rule going through with your offense and the pace that you like to play with. Knowing that that's now not going to happen, how relieved are you with this Arizona offense?
Your producers are probably wishing it happened right now, so we'd have a little bit more time to drag this out. But the truth is, I think whether it's our fans or any other fans, and they love to watch football and they like the action, and I think football is such a wonderful game. I don't think we need to change the rules where they are standing right now. And we're trying to drag things out a little bit for our viewers, but I think this is a great venue, and I think our fans love to watch us play fast.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Jill.
Roxy?
All right, Jill, and there's Rich Rodriguez talking about, and there's how fast they play. The most snaps per game. Cal led the way, but Arizona right there.
Yeah, it was impressive. And I'll tell you, his performance, like Keanu Reeves, was pretty impressive in that video.
That was funny to watch. They did a phenomenal job with that.
Him and
if you haven't seen it, you got to go to YouTube and find it.
Unbelievable. But I think tempo is something we've studied at the Pac-12 Networks this offseason. And you look at these plays, and a lot of teams are doing it. It doesn't always equate to wins. You got to be who you are offensively. We look at the national championship game a year ago, Florida State. They ran 70 plays a game. Auburn, they ran 74. So everybody's trying to go faster, but you can't be helter-skelter. I think this offense at Arizona, they're trying to really run purposeful plays versus sometimes in these tempo offenses, you're just okay with running a bad play. That doesn't happen here. And you see the quarterbacks always checking to the line or to the sideline to get a different play, make sure they're usually in a good play. And a lot, as B.J. Denker alluded to in an earlier interview with Jill, it's so much on the quarterback and making sure you put us, this as an offense, in good plays.
Now, Rich Rodriguez isn't going to take a seat. He's not joining the fans and he's going to pick somebody out of the stands right now here, and he's going to let a fan call a play. So there he's got the play chart, and it seems like he's picked a fan. Rich Rod's looking for someone. He's ready to hand over the headset.
I love it. Showed him the playbook. He made his own playbook. Remember the fans.
This fan thinks he's Bill Walsh. He scripted the first 15 plays, and Rich Rod needs to run for the spring game.
Yeah.
Look at that. He put it in his pocket. He's going to save it for another day. He must have had some good plays on that because he's keeping it.
Well, he was great. He said earlier, remember, the quarterback challenge, if you can out-throw an Arizona quarterback, you're going to win a prize. If you can out-kick an Arizona kicker, you win a prize. And he said, what, those two people, if those two students do that, I'll look for them as potentially joining our team. But he goes, the fan who gets to pick a play, I'm going to love it, but you don't get to join the staff. So he's making sure he's having some fun with this right now as he might have his winner, it looks like.
So looking at the play chart right there. This is like your own personal version of Madden. You know, when you're toggling through the plays, you can choose the formation, what play you want. That's what this Arizona fan is doing right now, choosing his own play.
Yeah, well, how many times have we done it? Why did they run that? I would have ran this. And now you get to insert whatever this is. So he better pick a good one because the pressure's on right now.
All right, it seems like the verdict is in because Rich Rod has what he likes. So the play appears to have been called by the fan in the stands with Coach Rich Rodriguez. And it will be the Arizona offense now with Anu Solomon at quarterback. Now I want to notice the fan also get to pick the personnel. Can he pick his quarterback? Can I get the receivers I want to line up in the formation that I want?
I don't know. Well, look, you're down in the red zone. I mean, you got to call a quick hit and play, and you better call a touchdown right here. Get creative. I mean, I don't know if you're going to see a reverse, you're going to see a fade, but you got to call something that gives you a chance to get some bragging rights right now.
So Anu Solomon at quarterback for this play called by an Arizona fan. And they're inside the 5-yard line. Will it work? Solomon. It's denied. Shy of the goal line.
Oh, he might have got in.
Fumble the ball forward, and Arizona picks it up and takes it in. Touchdown, there it is. We got a winner from the stands. Now, he might not get a spot on the staff, Yogi, but can we find a spot for him maybe in the film room if you call a successful play like Solomon? Somehow the Arizona offense found the end zone. Although, I think on video replay, they might reverse the decision.
He's fired up, as he should. This is major street cred in Tucson right now. Wherever he goes, I hope he gets a free meal out of this, gets some good love, because that was impressive. He's 1 for 1, man.
They already have co-offensive coordinators here at Arizona.
True.
So now another fan will get to call a play, and I guess Calvin McGee and Rod Smith can take the rest of the day off. They found new offensive coordinators here.
I like it. They drew it up. Rich Rod, remember, he was a young offensive coordinator. Here we go.
So there's 5 more plays now on that chart. There's 6 plays on that big chart that they can choose from.
Again, we're down in the red zone. I mean, you got to call touchdown here, man. Look at Matty Dudek right there. Play Dennis Hopper. He's right there, right next to Coach Rod, director of on-campus recruiting. They're always trying to be innovative around here. I love this kind of stuff.
Okay, Bryant. This is Bryant's play.
Okay, Bryant now with this play call.
Give him a standing ovation. If it doesn't, everybody roundly boo as loud as possible. Okay, here we go, Bryant.
Now we got a new quarterback in there. Adam Friedrichsen gets his first opportunity of the day. And a 5-wide receiver set.
One guy, quarterback.
So redshirt freshman from Encinitas, California quarterback. And it's tipped to the line. It may have been the right play call, but the defense was a step ahead there and got knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
Show. That was a good call. Poor execution.
So he's blaming his players.
Never the coach's fault.
No. So 4 more plays to be called by fans here. This is what's great. The loose atmosphere around a spring football game. Yeah, there's competition and it's serious business, but there's also an opportunity for fun here. And Rich Rodriguez making more friends up in the Arizona stands.
Well, this is such a great community. I mean, we've been here for a couple days. You did a baseball game yesterday. I mean, Tucson is an awesome college town. So many of the community members are involved.
They're all good plays. Oh, I should get the good. Okay.
And such a great weekend to be down here. Spring Fling is going on the mall here. It's Wildcat weekend, the spring football game. And the baseball is a matchup of the last 2 national champions. The series is UCLA in town taking on Andy Lopez's team of the Wildcats.
Yeah, you're right. And Rich Rodriguez has done such a great job.
This play call right here. Let's see if we can execute it. Everybody watch out.
Be nervous.
It's all up to the execution now.
Again, putting the pressure on his players.
Oh, you're getting a lot of crowd noise.
This is Isham at quarterback.
Denied.
Oh, poor blocking. We'll just blame the offensive line on that one. That was a good play call.
Or maybe we should give Jeff Castile and his defense some credit.
Yeah,
what do you think, Coach? much improved from year 1 to year 2 and trying to make that step forward in year 3. Maybe Jeff Castile's making a statement here.
Yeah.
You know, you think you can do it? You think this is easy? Well, guess what? I'm going to show you.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm calling like double A gap blitz right now. Bring the house. Just totally try to mess with the offense. And there's always those fun dynamics on staffs. No one is not a competitor. Jeff Castile came over from West Virginia, really one of the more talented guys in the country. I love his scheme, and his players are finally really now adept at playing this scheme, this 3-3-5 scheme. And with the depth that he has, they got a chance to really improve again.
Here is Jeff Castile, veteran defensive line, or linebacker and defensive coordinator.
He says, I'm a fair catch. I like that. Okay.
All right, Rich Rod found another fan who's calling a play. Well, this is number 4 now, right?
Yep. He did such
2 more after this. So you notice how he pulls
he doesn't want us to hear
the PA mic away, and he's got the intercom mic and the headset going straight to the offense, and that's, again, keeping the defense off balance, keeping them guessing.
Birthday call.
Oh, it's her birthday. We got to get this one.
Come on, Danielle. Let's see if we can complete the pass.
Gerard Randall, a quarterback with the offense.
Oh, he's taking off.
Oh! Did he cross the plane? Hands went up, touchdown.
Oh, what is it
Solomon
called?
took a big hit, but he crossed the goal line. It's a touchdown.
Celebrate her birthday.
Wait a minute. The play is under review. The reviewing comes back. It plays as stands as called.
Ooh, and he gets popped. But I think that would be a touchdown.
That's a hard hit for a guy who could be your starting quarterback there. Is Zach Struhling, who had interception already, was the guy who lowered the boom there on Randall.
Well, the quarterbacks have been live the majority of spring practice, and if you're going to ever learn it, it's going to be right there. When you get near the end zone, you're going to have to get down. And I would bet when we watch him later on in the fall, you're going to see him diving towards the goal line versus taking it standing up straight.
Okay, there goes Coach Rich
in
Rod.
the official coach's gear right here with the red shirt on. He's going to make a touchdown call right now.
Looked like they could be brothers right there. It's like they coordinated the outfit earlier today.
Truly a member of the coaching staff. He's got the same shirt on.
All right, one more play after this will be called by the fans. This is the 5th of 6 plays.
Yeah, play call. Again, if it works, standing ovation. If it doesn't, we are going to boo. And call it on his coach's show.
Rich Rod's awesome.
Awesome, man.
It's a screenplay. Uh-oh. He's got a chance.
Screenplay is set up.
Is he going to make it?
Terrace Jones-Grigsby to the corner. Penalty marker is down. Hang on.
I think it might be on the offense. Might be a hold.
It appears to be against the offense.
Holding. Number 17 of the offense. That penalty decline. Game is ended.
Josh Kern,
I'm talking about the
tight end,
officials.
called for the hold. So this will be the last one.
You got to get in the end zone here, right? You got to finish strong on offense. You know, he's done such a nice job. Last night we went to Coach Rodriguez's house. He had any former alum who played any sport at Arizona come to his house. It was really cool to meet former players, former athletes. He's really embraced the community, and the community has really embraced him. And I think this is such a great fit for his personality, and I really think this program's going in the right direction.
So the last play call from an Arizona fan.
Request. She wants Trey Griffey in this play.
Again, we have personnel being dictated not only with the play call. Trey Griffey certainly has a fan in the stands. There is Trey.
Strap it up, man. Let's go.
And he is heading out there with the offense.
You feel a little nervous?
Hey, the coach called the personnel. You got to respond.
Tyron McGee at quarterback.
Right here.
I have to imagine this play might go to Griffey now after the personnel was requested.
Got him at the bottom of your screen.
Looking Griffey's way. And he can't hang on. On the slant
That was a
route.
great call. Give Mariah a round of applause.
Griffey had 2 touchdown catches in their bowl win against Boston College. Here he is on the slant.
Man-to-man coverage, crosses his face. It's a nice route. You got to catch the play. You got to catch the ball.
So Griffey there had an opportunity in the end zone. And Arizona defense with a hold there. Speaking of the Wildcats defense, Jill Savage standing by with the big playmaker, Tremaine Bondurant from this defense.
Thank you so much, Roxy. Tremaine, now your senior year, your last spring game, what have you really tried to focus in on?
I mean, just, coming out here and getting a chance to see our young guys, go out there and have a chance to showcase what they can do. I mean, it's my last spring, so, I mean, it's just something I'm just going back on. It's overwhelming right now just knowing that I've been here for that long, and it's almost coming to an end, and we got one more season, put in more work, but we just came out here to have fun and give the fans a good time.
You had an NFL draft evaluation, but chose to come back this season. What was in that decision?
I mean, just a better decision for me, personally, and just for my family, just trying to help my family get out the situation we're in now and just better my family's life. And I know coming back, I can be a big help for this team my senior year, and I'll have a chance to, enter the draft next year with better opportunities and better chances.
Now the score here for the spring game, 57-38 offense. Do you think if Coach Rodriguez was a defensive-minded coach, you guys would have a few more chances to score?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Rodriguez is for sure an offensive guy, and we understand that every scrimmage, we give the offense a little leeway and give them a chance to look good in front of the fans. But at practice, we tend to beat up on them a lot. So, I mean, we just having fun, and we know Coach Richrod is in it, to make the offense look good and make us look good also. But, I mean, we just having fun out here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Roxy?
All right, Jill, Tremaine Bondurant knows that the game might be altered a little bit, and it might be favored and slanted toward the offense.
Well, he sounds like a senior. He's been around the program. He can get away with a couple of those comments here and there. But, again, Jill nailed it with the interview. He really is a guy coming into his own within this program, within this defense. I think he's a great example of this team potentially turning the corner and him being one of those leaders.
And Bondurant, the senior to be from Fairfield, California, 3-year starter, 7 career picks. And here's the schedule that Arizona Yogi is looking at in 2014, and it starts with those 3 non-conference games.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I think they can get through those. And all of a sudden, here we go. Look at that stretch. If you can get through there, Oregon, USC, Washington State. They owe Washington State from a year ago. That was a game they easily could have won here. They got to go up to the Palouse, but it's going to be fun. All eyes. Oregon, I think, is a Thursday night, October 2nd. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. 2 of the more dynamic offenses in the country. And for Rich Rodriguez, this team is going to be whispered about as a Pac-12 South sleeper. They can get a quarterback. They'll get the running back thing handled. But if they can find a guy that can really master this offense, they can come out of the gates going fast and be in true midseason form at midseason, they might be pretty scary.
And it all ends with a Territorial Cup and the duel in the desert with Arizona State here the Friday after Thanksgiving. But a successful spring run and good quarterback play. A fun day here in Tucson for this program, and really on an upswing Arizona football.
It's going to be exciting for all the Wildcat fans. This team is turning the corner. They got the athletes. They have the environment. It's going to be awesome as fall camp is going to be here before we know it.
So an 8-win team, Arizona last year, a bowl game win, and all sights set on 2014. For Yogi and for Jill Savage, Roxy Bernstein saying so long from Arizona Stadium, where the Arizona offense looked terrific. Let's send you to the farm, the completion of the Stanford spring game in Palo Alto.